see, we started tearing into dog toy. I've cleared out the back seats so that we can put in the fuel tank. We have the empty cavity about ready for the tank to go into. I took the doors off and everything so we had easy access to everything. As we move around to the front of the vehicle, you can see I completely took the front end off it. This is so I can get at the headlights where I want to mount the winch. I can install the heater core and all the wiring harnesses that I need to make it street legal. As we walk around the other side, you can see even more destruction. To make things easier, I took the passenger seat out. One little note here, it sucks because you have to take an extra bolt out to pull one of the front seat bolts out. They hit the bracket. We come to the back. You can see where I removed the back end. This is where the particle separator will sit into the cavity, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But the whole unit mounts back there underneath that fender. Hi, we just finished up the winch install. Since it's the factory Polaris winch, everything bolted in like it was supposed to. The wiring harness has its own clips that you run up inside and around, up above the shock tower, back around. I did zip tie it back here to the frame member. And then you have the relay housing, which has mounting holes already. When you go inside, you have your 2 extra power wires that bolt right on to your ground and power, winch power for the controls. And we mounted the winch control plug-in for the manual remote right down in the box here. Polaris has a knockout that you push out and then screw the electrical connector in. Well, I have pre-assembled the gas tank, the fuel pump as the instructions said, Loctited all the fittings. I've run the wire down through the center of the tunnel, and I have installed their rubber isolator onto the frame. I did cover up my screw heads with some rubberized tape. Hopefully that helps. And then it's as simple as setting the tank down in. Moving the wire out of the way. It appears to be hitting on this piece of plastic right here. I'm gonna have to cut that out of the way. Alright, now that we made the fuel tank fit into its spot, I have reinstalled all the bolts to the cross members. We have reattached the seats so they work as they're supposed to. We have added the vent line. I have zip tied the fuel line and the vent line all the way across to where it hooks into the fuel neck. And she's about ready to go. Now, I put the hole in almost as the manufacturer specified, but they call out a 3.5-inch hole saw, and that's too big of a hole. I went 2 3/4, but I dropped down too far this way. We don't need, you probably don't want it that far open. But this just slides back in, and you can see the gas cap is easily accessible. There we go. And that's it for the fuel tank, other than the finishing up the buttons in the dash, which I'll show in a little bit. All right, I wanted to take a second and show you how we connected into the fuel necks. My buddy's Pro R, you can see the fuel line come in. We're towards the back side of the machine, nice tucked into the corner. This is the vent line over here, comes in. They got a little T-fitting and a bulkhead that comes into the side of the filler neck tube. It a little spongy because you're clamped into rubber. We did this differently than mine. The one on the Turbo R dog toy, I'll show you in a second. We did it the way it was showed to be done, and I don't know if I like that better. This is tucked away a whole lot nicer. Here we are on the Turbo R. You can see this is pointed more towards the door. It's still hidden behind the seat, but I run the seats out with the dogs in back. I might have to put something here so the dogs can't step on it. But you can see the vent line coming in here to the front, and the fuel line comes up and over. Same fittings. The kits are identical for the Turbo R and the Pro R. Here is the finished installed switch. It's got a nice picture of the fuel pump. Turn that anytime you want to transfer fuel over. I mounted the relay is right here, and then it plugs into the bus bar. All right, for the S&B particle separator install, we started at the air box. We replaced the air intake tube with a new one. It fits nicely through where the old one kind of fit. Everything's kind of tight in there. You can see the new brackets fit in here really nice. Everything fit as S&B made it fit. I think they did a pretty good job. I really like how it went in here. You can see down in here, this is the electrical wire for the fan, and I tied it up to some other wiring up above. We'll come around to the back side here. This is where the pickup sensor is on the positive side of the spark plug coil, so it can tell the fan how fast to run. I deviated from the installations instructions. They wanted to use zip ties, but you can see on the frame all the wear marks and stuff from my bed box. That probably wouldn't last very long, so I used the rubber cushioned clamps to tie everything up nice, and some self-drilling screws. Everything's in there nice and tight. Keeps it up off the heat shield for the turbos and up out of the way. Kind of a nice clean installation. As we come around, you can see I bring the wiring across. The one come up around, zip tied everything up. There's a little control box that everything ties into. I think this actually tells the fan how fast to run. And then these are the power wires. I followed the wiring harness down the tunnel up to the front. I haven't closed everything up yet because I still have 2 more wiring harnesses to run through here yet. One is for my chase light, and the other one is for the rear turn signals. That's yet to come. We come up to the front of the machine. They have some sort of, like, looks like a little relay box, and then this plugs into the pulse bar. I haven't plugged it in yet. I bought some Y cables on eBay. This is the controls for my winch. I'm gonna Y a few of these low powered together just so I can gain some extra ports. I think Polaris really cheaped out on how many ports they give, and there doesn't seem to be much of a good option to make it bigger. I can add another pulse bar, but it's got to have ignition wiring and you know, another plug into it, and then some people are talking about you got to put a extra fuse and run it all the way back to your battery. I'm just looking for a simple solution. I believe as long as it's a low amp draw, shouldn't have any issues with it. So that wraps up where we're at for this weekend. Stay tuned. I'm going to try to do another one next week with some more of the stuff as we're getting her ready to go out again. I can't wait. Till next time, we'll see you later.